Hey everyone. So, if you're on the hunt for a remote job, you've probably seen the same old lists, right? It's always data entry and survey gigs. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on some reliable, always hiring remote jobs that, honestly, most people have never even heard of. Does this look familiar? You spend hours and hours scrolling, and what do you find? Just intense competition for the exact same handful of roles. It's so frustrating. But what if the problem isn't a lack of jobs, but where you're actually looking for them? We're about to dive into a hidden job market where companies are pretty much constantly looking for people. Why? Simply because most job seekers don't even know these roles exist. To make this super easy, we've broken them down into 3 categories to help you find your perfect fit.
All right, first up, this one's for those of you who love to think outside the box, interpret things, and really use your intuition. If you're kind of a natural-born investigator or advisor, these first 2 roles might be just for you.
Okay, I know, this one sounds a little wild, but stick with me. It's a real, legitimate side hustle. Think about it. People are looking for clarity, or sometimes just someone to listen. And platforms like Keen, well, they've been around for over 25 years, connecting advisors just like this with millions of clients.
Let's break down the numbers here. The first thing that just jumps right out is that pay rate, up to $11 a minute. That is an incredible earning potential. But now look at that opportunity score. That's our rating for how stable and available the job is. A 7 out of 10 tells us that the work can be a bit inconsistent. So this makes it a fantastic, super high-paying side gig, but maybe not a stable full-time career. Okay, from dream worlds to courtrooms, here's another really fascinating role, the online juror. So before a big case goes to trial, attorneys need to test out their arguments on, well, an average person. And here's the secret. They actually don't want legal experts. They want your unbiased everyday opinion. Now, the pay structure here is totally different. You're paid per case, anywhere from 20 to 60 bucks. The key thing to know, and the reason for that 7 out of 10 score, is geography. Your chance to get cases is tied to your location. So if you're in a more populated area, you're going to see a lot more opportunities. It's another excellent side hustle where really your fresh perspective is the main qualification. So, here's the bottom line. Both of these jobs tap into your curiosity, but in completely different ways. One is all about personal interpretation for individuals, and you're paid by the minute. The other is about objective feedback for professionals, and you're paid by the case. Next up, we've got a category for the ultimate organizers out there. You know who you are. If you love spreadsheets, logistics, and just making sure things run like a well-oiled machine, these next 2 roles are totally designed for you. What does this number mean? Well, that's the percentage of consumers in the US who shop online. That is a massive, massive market. And all of that online shopping creates this enormous need for logistical support to make sure the entire system doesn't just fall apart. And that brings us right to the e-commerce order processor. You are the critical link between a customer clicking buy and that package showing up at their door. You'd work for retailers or dropshipping companies, making sure every single detail is accurate and on time. Look, the work isn't glamorous. It's definitely repetitive and it requires intense attention to detail. But here's the secret. Boring often means stable. And in an uncertain economy, a stable job you can do from home is incredibly valuable, which is exactly why this gets a 9 out of 10 opportunity score. All right, next up, we have a role that requires zero experience, the social media content reviewer. You are basically the social media police. Your whole job is to look at stuff that people post and decide if it breaks the platform's rules. The pay is pretty decent for an entry-level remote role, but you might notice the opportunity score is only a 6 out of 10. And there's a very, very serious reason for that, and it goes way beyond just the numbers. So let's be crystal clear about why that score is lower. This quote really says it all. You are the final human filter, and that means you will, inevitably, be exposed to the absolute worst of humanity online. It's a critical job that someone has to do, but it comes with a serious potential cost to your mental health that you really have to consider. Okay, for our final category, let's look at jobs built on human connection. If you're great at communicating, teaching, and building relationships, these last 2 roles are going to be right up your alley. Now, you've probably heard of this one, but the sheer scale of the opportunity is something people often underestimate. The global demand for learning English, in particular, is always growing. And hey, if you speak another language, you can find a niche with even less competition. The income potential here is excellent. We're talking up to 35 bucks a lesson, which earns it a 9 out of 10 opportunity score. So, what's the main challenge? It just takes time and effort to build up your initial client base. But once you have a roster of steady students, it becomes a really reliable and flexible source of income. And finally, we have the outbound appointment setter. Now listen, your job isn't to sell anything, it's to get the meeting. You're the one who opens the door so a salesperson can walk through it. That makes you an absolutely essential part of any company's growth. And this right here is why this role is so powerful. Because you directly help bring in customers, this role is incredibly stable. Companies just don't lay off the people who fill their pipeline. With a solid base pay, plus commission, and a clear path into a high-paying sales career, it's a fantastic opportunity. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, from interpreting dreams all the way to setting corporate appointments. But the real question is, how do you figure out which one of these hidden paths is the right one for you? So, how do you find your path? It's pretty simple. Start with these 3 questions. First, what's your personality type? Are you more of a creative, an organizer, or a connector? Second, what skills do you already have? And third, what's your real goal here? A stable career or a flexible side hustle? Your answers will point you in the right direction. The world of remote work is so much bigger and more interesting than it seems. The opportunities are definitely out there, waiting behind doors that most people don't even know exist. So the only question left is, which one are you going to choose to open?